Welcome to the 60 Plus podcast.
Joe, you sound so strange.
I'm getting over a cold.
I know. Oh, poor baby.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, except we're not babies anymore,
No,
are
we're
we?
not babies.
No.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, we're good.
As of today, as of right now, if I get your cold, I won't be so good.
Oh, you're not going to get my cold. I'm getting over it. The worst is over.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
What are we talking about today, Janet?
So, we're talking about job seeking over 60, you know,
For people over 60.
for people over 60,
Yeah, not
you know,
everyone's retiring.
trying to get
We
back.
talk about retirement pretty frequently, but not,
Yeah.
not everyone's retiring.
Not everyone's retiring. And in fact, a lot of people are getting back into the job market, right? And as of, let's see, 2022, adults aged 65 and older comprise 6.6% of the US labor force, and that is growing to a projection of 8.6 in 2032. So that's a pretty big percentage
It is, and
and growing.
there's a number of reasons for it too.
Yeah.
Some people didn't plan well for retirement.
Right. So there's financial considerations.
Some
Yeah.
people just want to get out of the house and have some social interaction.
Right. Yeah. And a sense of purpose or whatever. Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
Um,
So there are good reasons to
stay employed.
stay employed or maybe stop working and you want to get back to work.
Exactly. And that happens, yeah, it happens quite a bit. So, we wanted to talk about that today and hit on some of the challenges of job hunting when you're, over 60,
Mm-hmm.
because there are definitely several challenges, right? Including, I hate to say it, age discrimination.
It's true. I've talked to a number of people who you can't prove it. That's the challenge.
Right.
It's very, very difficult to prove.
Right. And it's kind of illegal. Like
Well, it is illegal.
There's an Age Discrimination Employment Act of 1967.
It's old.
Yeah, it's older than we are. No, actually,
It's not older than we are.
no. But so that, I always say ageism is maybe the last ism we, I think it's a tough nut to crack.
And
But along with that are other practical challenges too.
such as?
Your skills may be outdated.
Well,
Right?
they may be.
Right.
Now, that's not to say that what you're looking for in a new job in your 60s or beyond has to be what you did in your previous career.
Right. Right. But if it is, you might have to get, new certifications or whatever it is. But we'll talk about that.
Sure.
We're going to talk about some strategies for overcoming some of these challenges. The last one is this idea of losing your essential benefits, right? If you stop working or if you are taking benefits and you want to get back into the workforce. So, yeah, and then there's, concerns about losing essential benefits, and we'll talk about that too. So, this I thought was an interesting statistic where I'm reading that in terms of age discrimination, 90% of workers over 40 feel like they experience age discrimination.
And that's not to say that it's always true.
No, maybe not, but it may be more of a feeling. But it is a younger workforce. If you think about Gen Z, millennial generation, you're talking about 150 million, half of the workforce for sure, if not more. That's a big group of young workers to compete with.
I did read something that said that 2025 will be the number one year where people turn 65.
Yeah.
So going beyond that, there's not enough younger workers coming into the workforce
Right.
to replace those that are leaving the workforce.
Right.
So companies are going to have to consider older workers as candidates.
Yeah. There's some like crazy statistic like the number of people over 60 is going to outpace the number of people under 20 or whatever. It's an aging population, and therefore it's an aging pool of potential workers. So here's some strategies that we've found to overcome some of these challenges. If you're trying to get back in the workforce or you're trying to get a new job, maybe you might want to think about some of these things that we're going to share with you today.
Sure.
I guess there's not much you can do about age discrimination, although there are some ideas here about how you present yourself with your resume and your online presence. And one of the things is that You might want to try and address age concerns by taking out some of the older information and focusing more on skills rather than a chronological order of
Yeah,
what
what do they
you've
call
done.
that kind of
A hybrid,
resume? There's a hybrid and there's
a
it's
hybrid
like a
resume.
functional resume or something
Yes,
like
where
that.
you're focusing on the functional skills over the chronological work history. And that makes it suitable to overcome if you have gaps in your work. But they say concentrate on the last 10 to 15 years of your employment. You don't have to go all the way back to when you were doing an internship in college,
No,
right? So format the employment date strategically. Think about what dates you want to put on there. I think that when you're applying online, though, you're kind of forced to put some of those dates in.
you may be forced to
Right. But
include the
how
dates.
far back you go is up to you. So that's kind of some tips about that.
You can eliminate dates altogether if you're able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So LinkedIn seems to be a big online portal, or it's like the
Yes.
Facebook of job
Yeah.
hunters,
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
but you have to put in dates
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you have to put in month and year.
Right. Right.
So it's a little harder to kind of camouflage any gaps
Right.
in employment.
Right. So, one of the things that I found interesting about this whole idea for optimizing your resume is this applicant tracking system companies use to screen resumes, and that can help you, to incorporate keywords.
Well, the applicant tracking system is what the employers
Right.
use.
And then there's tools that can help you modernize your resume, if you will, or to respond to that particular job posting.
Well, let's talk about the ATS for a bit.
Yeah.
I was on LinkedIn and I saw people complaining that they would apply for a job and within minutes
Yeah.
they would get a rejection letter.
I know. Ouch.
Within minutes. Now,
Ouch.
some HR people had chimed in and said, "Oh, well, you didn't complete the survey, the questionnaire." And he said, "No, that's not true." Well, somebody must have really been on top of their game and saw your resume and rejected. No, it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
So I think a lot of HR people will try to say, we don't really use it to just reject out of hand.
Yeah, but
But I don't think
I
it's
mean, if
true.
you're getting thousands and thousands of resume for a job posting, you've got to, count on the system to screen things out. It's not like the old days where it was more of a screening in process. I mean, you were looking over resumes and you were looking for those people who would really be a good talent pool to then interview, whereas you're counting on the system to go through a lot of data.
And there are
Um,
tools that you can use, AI, artificial intelligence tools, to compare your resume to the job description.
Yeah, and there was actually a list of a bunch of tools here, which I think is worthwhile to talk about. JobScan is one of them, and analyzes your resume against specific job descriptions.
We're not endorsing any of these. We're
No,
just pointing out that they
nor have
exist.
we used them. So, but this is this is the research that we've done. It identifies relevant keywords and suggests improvements to enhance the ATS compatibility.
Hmm.
So that's one of them. Resume Worded evaluates your resume's content and structure, providing feedback for keyword usage, formatting, and overall effectiveness to pass the ATS filters, which is what you're referring to. Those
Yes.
filters are designed to get rid of people. Of course, they're not as accurate as eyeballs, but here you go. Top Resume offers free resume review service, yada, yada, same thing. ResuMonk provides ATS friendly resume template designed to ensure your document is easily parsed by ATS software. So these are some of the tools that you can maybe use to help improve the format and the content of your resume to help get you through those applicant tracking systems, to your point.
I think the applicant tracking systems are something that we may not have encountered in our previous job searches because they didn't exist.
Right.
AI has kind of taken the world by storm, and HR representatives are using applicant tracking systems to weed out resumes because it's become easier to apply for jobs.
Yeah, well, that's true too,
Do you
right?
remember when we were in college? I
You have
remember
to go through the paper. I think I got my first 3 jobs from a posting in the local paper.
you did your resume,
Yep.
you brought it to a typesetter,
Yeah.
They typeset
Oh
it.
my
You buy 50
goodness.
copies of it.
Yeah, remember you get like really nice paper
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
it
they
was a
try
big
to
deal.
stand out, right?
Yep. But now every resume is tweaked for each individual job description.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's the ATS is comparing your resume to that job description, and the tools that you just mentioned
Yeah,
help you align your resume to that job description.
right. Exactly. So, some other strategies that we can talk about in terms of overcoming challenges. One of these ideas of updating your skills, if you're not a lifelong learner, you may want to take some courses relevant to your industry if you're trying to stay in your industry. You want to demonstrate that you're, adaptable and up to date on skills that potential employers are looking for. That's a good idea. I think that's kind of a nice idea anyway, right? I believe in lifelong learning.
Of
I think it's
course,
so
yeah.
healthy for you.
Just to get back to the ATS for a second, I've also heard and read about people who go to ChatGPT, for instance,
Yeah.
or another AI large language model, and enter the job description and say, "Here's my resume. Am I a good fit for this job?"
Right.
And ChatGPT will
Yeah,
do that
because you
for you.
don't want to waste your time too. So it
No,
works the other way for you too. So in terms of updating your skills too, another thought here is to enhance your digital literacy.
sure.
So make sure that you're familiar with the latest software and tools in your industry. And also prepare for virtual interviews because if you do get through the screen and you do get an interview, more than likely it's going to be over Zoom or through some kind of interview tool. So you want to make sure you have a professional setup and for video conferencing and you're comfortable with the technology.
Yeah, practice. don't
Practice makes perfect. Practice with your friends.
don't mute yourself.
Yeah.
I've been on many
Or
Zoom
mute
calls.
yourself when you need to.
Yeah, like if you have to cough.
Yeah, Joe, when you
Uh,
have to cough.
I've been on many Zoom calls
Yeah.
where it seems an inordinate amount of time is, "You're muted. We can't hear you. You're
Or
muted."
the opposite. Please mute
Oh
yourself. We
yeah.
can hear everything that's going on in your living room.
Hmm.
Here's another strategy that I think I really like because it directly addresses the whole idea of getting screened out with these ATS systems. And that's leveraging your network.
Always
So,
important.
inform friends, family, former colleagues that you're searching for a job. And you might come across something that's not even advertised, let alone being bombarded with resumes. So leveraging your network is key. And that's both in person and also, as you say, through LinkedIn and things of that nature.
Sure.
So that's a good tip there. Re-
Talking about jobs that aren't advertised, kind of analogous to that. I've read a lot lately about fake job postings. Have you heard
oh,
about this?
no,
Companies are posting fake job postings to make it look to their employees like they're expanding, to kind of build up the
or to goose their employees to
exactly.
go increase your productivity.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that's kind of scary. So reconnect with former colleagues and associates. Referrals can really increase your chances of getting an interview. Also, you might want to attend industry events or join professional groups, right?
Sure.
There's always like a small business association or something of that nature where you can go and for free go attend these meetings and talks that they have and make some connections, new connections.
AARP has a lot of tools designed to help people of a certain age
Yeah.
look for a job,
Yeah.
and it's a good idea to take advantage of those.
Yeah, I guess they have a job board and a work at home vintage expert posting, I guess.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that I didn't know about at all. And that's designed specifically for mature job seekers.
Okay.
So that if employers are on there, they are looking for mature workers,
Sure.
which, probably if you think about the trends, hopefully that will continue to trend as well, that these employers will start to get the idea that, they're going to have to expand their thinking around mature employees. I mean, full of skills, full of experience, great for, being mentors to those younger employers. There's a lot of good reasons why you might want to hire somebody older.
And some of the reading that I did preparing for today,
Mm-hmm.
I saw a quote. I don't remember who it was. I just highlighted the quote. It says, "For mature workers, They're built to last. They're full of value, but they're treated often like a high mileage Pinto.
A Pinto, didn't they used to go on
They
fire?
did. They did. But
I'm on fire.
it's kind of a good analogy. They're built to last and they're full of value. Older workers have lots of experience.
Yep.
They've developed skills that younger
Mad
workers
skills,
just
mad
mad
skills.
skills
Yep.
that younger workers just haven't had a chance to develop yet.
No, no, and there's a maturity level, right? And there's so much experience in those transferable skills like project management, teaming and collaboration, and some of the softer skills that are a little harder for the younger workers because they, to your point, just have not had the opportunity to do it.
And I don't want to castigate any particular age group,
No.
but there is a work ethic
Yes.
that I think older workers have.
Well, there's actually, I was just reading an article about this, about how employers are frustrated with younger workers because of that very reason.
So you're going to castigate the younger workers.
No, I'm just quoting an article that I read.
Okay.
There's this sort of lack of accountability that was previously something that we were all, I don't know about you, but I felt like I was on top of it and always giving it your all and working long hours. And
Sure.
that's just not the culture of today, right? So,
Well, we're seeing it with people that worked remotely during pandemic,
yeah,
and now they're being required to go back to the office, and
they don't want to.
they really don't want to.
Yeah,
really
and
don't
that's a
want to.
whole nother topic. But that's also a really good option for older workers, too.
Remote work.
Remote work.
Sure.
Because nobody knows how old you are.
What's the old saying on the internet? Nobody knows if you're a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about all of that, right? And you can use those screening on video conferencing calls.
Put the filters
The
on.
filters, high filters,
Yeah.
please. They
Don't-
should have a
don't turn-
60 plus filter. The other thing that they talk about is like if you have been out of the workforce and you are trying to get back into the workforce, that you want to try to prepare yourself to discuss gaps in interviews. And
Sure.
again, focusing on those skills and maybe what you were doing, like be honest, be transparent and just be prepared that you're going to get that question if you have some gaps.
Put yourself in the position of the interviewer.
Right.
If you're trying to explain a gap, would it sound good to you if you were on the receiving end of the explanation?
Right. Exactly.
And there are legitimate reasons to have gaps in employment. So
Absolutely, 100%, especially at our age, right?
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Might be caring for an elder relative, things of that nature. The other thing to think about if you are going back into the workforce and maybe you have been taking benefits such as Social Security, there is one item that we should discuss. It's kind of a piece of information that's important.
We have discussed this in previous episodes.
Yes, we have when we talked about Social Security, but I think it's relevant here too. If you are before full retirement age,
If you were born in 1960, your full retirement age is 67.
if you're below that full retirement age, you can earn up to $23,400 without affecting your benefits.
Correct.
But if you go above that amount, Social Security will deduct $1 from your benefits for every $2 you earn over that $23,400.
Correct.
So that's something to really consider.
Sure.
That is an issue until you reach your full retirement age.
And then in the year that you reach full retirement age, you can earn up to $62,160. That's for this year, 2025,
Right,
without a reduction.
right.
For anything above that, they deduct $1 in benefits for every $3 earned over that $62,160.
Yeah, and basically what that means is if you're turning 67, let's say in November of 2025, you're still going to reach full retirement age within the year.
Correct.
So that puts you in that other camp of the 62,160. I guess the story here is that if you're going to be taking Social Security, before you take it, think long and hard about whether or not you're going to want to be going back into the workforce, right?
Just to clarify on that, it's
Yeah.
only for the months prior to you actually attaining full retirement age.
Okay, now you've lost me, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, go to ssa.gov,
Yeah.
and there's all kinds of
Now,
explanations
once
there.
you reach full retirement
Then
age,
you can earn whatever you want.
right? And that's like, so once I'm 67 for May, once I turn 67,
Correct.
I can make as much money as I want without any penalty.
Correct.
Okay.
You get,
So,
is that clear?
so it's good that my birthday's in January then.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's something to consider. And then, of course, there's tax implications, yada, 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 right? But we're not going to get into that. So, bottom line here is that, yes, there are challenges, but there are also resources and there's also techniques and tools to overcome them. And if you really want to work for whatever reason, then
Go ahead.
then do it.
Then do it. It's
If you want to retire,
I have friends that retired early
yeah.
and they went back to work because
Yeah.
they said I can only play so many rounds of golf.
Right. Yeah. And there's this sense of purpose, right? We actually talked about this when we did, because we've done a few episodes on retirement and how you choose to retire. And one of the big considerations was the emotional considerations and this idea that if your identity is tied to what you do, then you need to replace that sort of sense of identity and purpose. And so some people can't really do that, so they end up going back to work.
And if you're an employer, consider hiring someone that's
Yes,
with more
please.
experience. That
Yeah.
they're like vintage cars. They're built to last,
Yeah.
and well, they might not get the best mileage, but
I was going to say, yeah, but yeah, I think that
and they're great mentors as well.
right. And I really think that using your network, I mean, that's one of the benefits of being older is that you have a strong network of,
Hopefully.
yeah.
All right.
All right. I think we nailed this.
I think we did. We'll put a bunch of links in the show notes as usual.
Yep.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Right.
And anything else?
Happy searching.
So that's it for this week's episode of the 60 Plus Podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.